Empire Strikes Back starts on this planet Hoth, and it's got lots of mountains, and it's all, you know, like snowy and inhospitable. We see a little guy on some kind of furry T-Rex. He's loping across this icy terrain, bling bling bling, and we zoom in and we see that it is our hero, Luke Smysmonger, who everyone hates. He looks through his macro binoculars and he sees off in the distance, and he says, I'm going to go check it out. And he tells Han over the radio, and Han says, alright, I'll see you back at base, good buddy. Luke goes off, and then his furry T-Rex starts to act up, and he says, what's the matter, girl? And I don't know how he knew that she was a girl, but I will leave you to your own imaginations, and I will remind you he did grow up lonely on a farm. And all of a sudden, roar! And then White Chewie jumps up and knocks Luke out. And everyone goes, oh, okay. Can we get back to Han or somebody interesting? And they go back to the base, and Han finds out that Luke did not show up, and so he says, I'm going to go out and rescue him, because some people, when they see an open door, they think, oh, I better close the door, instead of thinking, hey, look, there's an opportunity for things to get better. Luke wakes up, and he's hanging upside down in a cave. And he can't get loose because his feet are frozen in ice. The best part about all this, about going back to Luke and seeing that he's not dead, he is horribly disfigured and maimed and bloody and dripping. And you think, if only, instead of scratching his cheek, if maybe he'd hit like a femoral artery, or maybe up here, or maybe just ripped him in half completely and then sucked the juice out. But no, he just has a little cut on his cheeky cheeks. Over here, stuck in the snow, he sees his lightsaber. And he uses the Force, and it wiggles, and it jiggles. And uh-oh, guess who he sees coming? And he whisks. He cuts himself free, and then he cuts off the Wampa's arm. He's struggling through the snow, and there's nobody to help him, and one-armed White Chewie is probably angry and very well could come back and finish him off. And who should show up in the snow on Hoth but Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi, but he's a ghost. He tells him, go to Dagobah. Find Yoda. Hang on, go back to the first thing you said, Dagobah. Let me write this down. Do you have an address? I'm going to put it in my GPS. He disappears, and who should appear? Han. Hey, what's up, kid? They cut open the tauntaun, and ramen noodles spill out of it, and then Luke gets saved. So they're getting attacked by these things, and there's nothing they can do about it, or is there? So they're being attacked by the big AT-AT walkers, the big machines, and Luke gets in his little snow speeder. Almost immediately, they crash in a snowdrift. See, Luke is the pilot, and the gunner is this little guy named Dak, and he feels he can take on the whole Empire himself, and Luke knows how he feels. Because not so long ago, Luke was an idiot also. All the other better pilots who didn't crash their snow speeders, they are flying around and around, and they're tripping up their legs. That's how they were able to hold off the Empire long enough for all the actual important people, like Han, to get away. So, Han and Leia and 3PO and Chewie, they get on board the Millennium Falcon, which is roughly shaped like that, and it has all this other stuff on a spaceship, bits and bobs. And Luke, he gets in his X-Wing with R2. Poor R2, he's stuck with old dorky McFarmington. He goes to Dagobah, and they go off to, well, they're going to go meet the rest of the rebels, but they get chased by Darth Vader. They fly out of him, and he tries to get him. The only bounty hunter that matters to anyone who knows anything about Star Wars is Boba Fett. And he's chasing after, well, they don't realize he's after them, the Millennium Falcon, and he's sort of sneaking behind them. And they are on their way to see Lando Calrissian. It's this city that floats up among the clouds, which is why they call it Cloud City. Anyway, so Lando is he's kind of in charge of Cloud City, and he welcomes Han and Leia and kind of hits on Leia a little bit. Lando, turns out, is kind of working for the Empire, and I don't know what to draw now. How do you draw treachery? Han is now, he's frozen in this block of lead, basically. He looks like a cool pewter necklace you get at a Renaissance fair. Luke crashes his stupid X-Wing on Dagobah. Didn't have the class to just die. What a jerk. So here is, and remember, he's supposed to be some kind of great pilot, but so far we've seen him crash twice in this movie. They run into this funny little guy who, he steals Luke's flashlight. And they're eating some weird dinner. It looks an awful lot like just refried beans. Yoda teaches Luke how to levitate rocks and stack them up while doing one-handed handstands. So Luke, he's sensing through the Force that his friends are in trouble. I think the logical choice would be to ignore everything you just said. He goes to Cloud City, so I'm going to actually draw Vader. What do you think, Mace? Does that look just like Darth Vader?
No.
Shut up. Alright, so Luke, who isn't gonna, he's... So, so they're fighting, and they're, hitting their lightsabers together, and he says, bad news, I cut off your hand. Worse news, I'm your father. And Luke is like, well, I don't care for that information, so bye. Luke is falling. No hand. He gets sucked into this thing. He falls out underneath Cloud City. And there's this weather vane type thing, and he's sort of hanging there, and he's not doing so hot. Poor guy. He's emotionally wounded more than anything. And he thinks, boo, 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 Leia. Now, Lando helped her and Chewie, and they escaped. And so they're on the Millennium Falcon, and he, like Aquaman with fish. It was that kind of thing. And he calls to Leia. And Leia, being part fish, thinks, ooh, Luke, I hear you. And she thinks, we've got to go back. So they fly up underneath him, and Lando goes up and rescues Luke down, and then they fly away. Lando and Leia and Chewie and the droids and Luke are now back with the Rebel fleet. And Luke, he gets a robot hand. So anyway, the end.